Welcome back to my channel, guys. In this video we are going to implement PayPal integration in React Native. So the main reason why I am making this video is I was having issue while implementing PayPal integration in a project. So I tried available PayPal SDK for React Native, and first they work, then after sometimes they aren't working, and I also tried to search any video or any article to do PayPal integration in React Native. So I was not getting any correct information, so I thought it would be good for everyone if I make a video and it will help someone. So I am using React Native Webview to implement PayPal integration in React Native. So because PayPal doesn't provide any React Native SDK like RezervePay does, or maybe other plugins, other payment gateway, but PayPal doesn't provide any React Native SDK. So I am using Webview, and I am using PayPal with Node.js. So if you don't know Node.js, so don't worry, you don't have to know Node.js. So I have done all the backend using Node.js. So I'm just gonna walk you through. Just first, when you open Webview, we are going to call this API and we're gonna pass the amount that we want to show the user to redirect, and we're gonna have two redirect URLs, one for cancel and one for success. When payment success, it will redirect to the success URL, and if payment cancel, it will redirect to the cancel URL. And if the items, I've copied this from the PayPal developer guide, and one for the when there is with success URL, we have success. So in success we have payment ID, we have payer ID, and we have token, then this thing. And in here, when everything is complete, we are rendering a success page, because I will tell you sometime why we are rendering a success page. And if cancel, you're gonna hit this, and we're gonna just show the user that it's cancel. And you have to just manipulate some of things. If you want to have a nice design in success page, you can make a success page design. If you want to have a nice cancel page design, you can make that cancel page design. And now this is our PayPal configuration. So in testing mode we use sandbox, and when you are using it live, you have to enter live here. And this is our client ID and client secret. And I'm not going to show you how to create a client ID or client secret, but what I am going to tell you is that when you're creating a sandbox account, don't forget to create two accounts. One is personal account and one is business account. You will need the both account, but you have to provide, when you're creating your app, you have to select the business account, and you have to enter that app client ID and the client secret. And that's pretty much it. And this is the currency, USD. You have to enter your currency, in which currency you want to receive payments, and why we rendering success page. So this is a success page. It's just an HTML dummy page. It's have a title, payment success, and is that only H1 payment done. Nothing so difficult. So why are rendering this page? Because we are running this in a React Native Webview. So we have to understand when the payment is complete or cancelled. So that's why we are rendering this page, because we are going to check whenever the URL change. If anytime we get a title called PayPal success, that's our own page. So if we receive that in title, So we are gonna consider that the payment is successful. So if payment is successful, then it's going to render this page, and it's not, then it's not going to render this page. So that's why we are going to check if the title is PayPal success, then we are going to do other logics like store the payment ID, payer ID, or token, date time, or anything to do extra and to manipulate other things like that. So that's pretty much it. So I deployed my code into the server because it's Node.js, and I tried to run it locally, but it's not running locally. I don't know why. Maybe because of localhost issue. So we are using React Native Webview, this package, and I have done a little bit of just design, not so much. So we're going to enter this amount here, which I'm going to show you in USD. And if I enter 5 here and then pay, it's showing me the PayPal logo, and just in a demo, and it's asking for login. So just I'm going to show you the React Native code, and I'm using the previous projects that I use for payment integration, RazorPay. So I'm going to upload this. I'm going to provide the GitHub link of this React Native project and also the Node.js server, because you need that Node.js server to deploy in a server that you can run on Webview. So that's an image and then text input and a button to pay. So whenever we click the button, we are navigating to a next page. So what I want to say this, don't use this Webview in a specific page. Use a model instead. I hope it will be good to use a model, or you can just use another page. Then if we go to the payment page, we are receiving the param that you are sending from here, the amount, and we are receiving it, and we are going to concatenate that with the URL, and the param, the amount will be dynamic, and we are pasting that in a source, and we are rendering the PayPal logo. What you see in the beginning when I click pay, we are just rendering the PayPal logo while Webview is loading. So it's for the user experience, it's for a good user experience. And for rendering this one, you have to start in loading state true. You have to make that in true. Then you can see the loader. And so now we are going to implement the on state change in Webview. So we are going to listen to the URL change and can check the if title is payment success. Then we are going to do the other things like storing the data or anything. So you're gonna see navigation state change. We are going to call back a function. Call it map state. Just let me console it so that you can see what is returning. Not an error, cannot find variable text in the previous error. So let me run that from the beginning. Let me load this app. So I'm going to enter with 5 USD and click on pay now. So it's the initial loader, and now we enter the PayPal page. We can see the navigation state change. You can see can go back false, you can go forward false, loading, target, title. Here is title, and we have also URL. So we're going to check when the title is. First, let me show you. Let me make a payment, then you can understand what is going on. password. So I guess we logged in. It's the loading state that have PayPal. So yeah, we logged in and we redirect to next page. As you can see, it's our next page and it's showing 5 USD and it's still loading. Now if I click continue, processing. Yeah, so finally we payment done. That's when we are in the success page, and you can see we have the title PayPal success and we have the URL. In URL, as you can see, we have payment ID, we have token, and we have payer ID. So we are going to check if the title is PayPal success, then we are going to, so basically we need the payment ID and the token and the payer ID. So for that we are going to check if the title is PayPal success, then we are going to use that URL to get this payment ID and token and payer ID. So for that you are going to use substring split and stuff to get that payer ID, token and payment ID from this URL. So we want URL from URL and title. URL and title from nav state. So I want to put a condition if URL equals to. So I'm just going to copy this. If URL equals to this, sorry, it's double quotes. If URL equals to this, then we're going to do this, that we want that. So we're going to, sorry, not URL, it's going to be title. If URL, then console the URL. So for now we are going to comment this nav state. We are going to see the console of URL that we want basically. So now then I'm going to reload this one. So if I enter 10 now, in previous you see I was enter 5, and you can see you also seen that people were showing 5 USD. Now I'm sending 10. So you want 10 USD from user. So initially it's showing the PayPal logo. Just I enter that and accept cookies. Oh, it's not what it's next. So it says 10 USD. I'm gonna hit continue. It's also loading, so I could wait. I don't have that much patience, so I click continue. Now it's still loading. Yeah, so now if the title, so actually it's working. So if title is PayPal success, then you're gonna console that URL. It's showing the console. So we have the URL now. So we want that payment ID, payer ID and token from the URL. So what are we going to do? We're going to look the URL that we can use split to split again this question mark. So we can divide this one in a, so it splits makes things in array. So just let me show you, then I can explain and you can understand. We're going to split this with question mark, and we're going to have two index. One is holding this one from this one to this one, another was holding this one to this one. So first let me split this one. So I'm going to name this just split URL. So we're gonna use this URL and then use this split to split, and we are going to use this question mark to split, and it will return an array. Just let me console, and it will return an array. So in array, in 0 index, we will have this. It will divide in two parts. Like in question mark, it will return this one array, and then after that it will enter into another object. Sorry, not array, but 0 index it will have this one, and in 1 index it will have this one. So when we have this 1 index, so we have split URL, and in 1 index we have what we need. So we are going to split that one also. So we are going to name it split other half. I was not thinking that much for now. So we are going to split URL, and we are going to split it by, let me have a look of the URL. We want to split it by this ampersand. So if we check, so now if we check, just let me refresh it, load it one more time, and now if we check, I'm entering 25 now. Loading. So if payment is successful, then you're gonna have one split URL of the first portion where is the base URL and the success, and the second one is the payment ID and all those things. And second split we have payment ID, pair ID, and token. And if we click continue, sorry, I forget to enter one here. So just let us check split URL first. When you see split URL, we have two index. One is holding the first half of the question mark, and second one is holding the other thing after question mark. So we have this, and we forget to enter the index. That's why it's showing type error. And if you see, then the same way we are going to have the other things, like it's going to divide as this one in 0 index, the whole this one in 0 index, and this one is 1 index, and this one is 2 index. So we are going to remove pair ID equals to, token equals to, and payment ID equals to get that payment ID, token, and pair ID. So just let me do this first. So first we are going to need payment ID. Now we have a proper name. So in split other half, in 0 index we have the payment ID, and we want to replace that with an empty string, and for that we are going to give that. So we are going to replace that with the empty string. So this is our payment ID. So we are gonna do that for, this is one for token, and this is going to be 1 index, and you have token, token, and the third one is pair ID. So we have payment ID, we have token and pair ID. If everything is right, then I'm going to have payment ID, pair ID and token. So let me console everything. We are going to have payment ID, we are going to have token, we are going to have pair ID. Let me just comment it, split URL. I'm going to see from split other half. So if I save and if I reload now, so if I enter 11 now, 11 USD, if I click pay, it's still loading. It takes some time to load, and if I click continue, so as you can see, in the split other half, it's splitted with web version. We have payment ID, we have token, and we have pair ID, all in 3 different index. So we in console, when we replace the payment ID or token or pair ID with an empty string, as you can see, we have the payment ID. As you can see, it's the same payment ID in the URL, and need the token and the pair ID also. Sorry, payment ID. Sorry, I forget to change this index. It is going to be 2. It's going to be 2. So we are getting all of 3: payment ID, token, and pair ID. So when we have that, so I'm just going to. So if we have that, that means that if we have the title payment success, then we're going to get the URL and split the URL, and the other half we are going to split that URL with ampersand. Then in that we are going to replace the payment ID equals to token equals to and pair ID equals to. We'll replace that with empty string to get that actual payment ID, token, and pair ID. So now we have, then we can call an API to store the data, or you can just do like your app logic, what you have to do, and it's for success. And suppose you get an error like it's cancel or something, so make a page like this, and we can render that cancel page and put the title payment cancel, then do that logic according to that. So if we have that, so we are going to navigate to a different page, different screen to show that payment successful, something like that. So we're going to already have that page, just showing that payment ID and everything. And I guess its name success. And it's a pay ID. It's payment ID. And token is token. And pair ID equals to pair ID. So everything goes okay. If you reach the success page, you are going to navigate to this one, and just I'm showing you to how to. Basically, I'm just showing that you can navigate to a different screen when your payment is successful. So I'm going to reload this one again. I'm going to enter by the way, I am using React Navigation 5 and I am using this use route to receive the params in different screen, and hit continue. So whenever payment done, we reach the payment that is successful, and we are navigating to a different screen. It's a payment successful, it's showing the pay ID, token and pair ID. So everything is working properly, and when you're making it live, so make sure to change the mode to live and you are good to go. And so that's it, nothing more to tell, I guess. One more thing, so when you are creating your sandbox account, and please make sure to create a personal account and a business account. So, and when you're creating an app, so make sure to use the correct business account to create the app, and you can change your currency by changing this to it's easy right now, you can change it. So please check out the developer guide to available currency, and this is our change. I can change the item names also. I'm not talking deep in this thing. I'm just copy this from PayPal documentation, PayPal developer guide, and you can change the description. So that's it for now. I hope you guys like this video, so give it a like and share to your friends, and please suggest me a video that I can make in future. And if you like this video and think it's helpful for you, then you can buy me a coffee, link in the description. So thank you for watching this video.